Alright, so today I'm going to go over how to make a stat sheet. Now, I've kind of already done one in Excel, kind of like it's a mock stats right here. And all of this is just the template. There's nothing really going on here. If any of you guys want a copy of this, just email me, and my email will be in the description, and I can get you a copy of this one. Each one should be tailored, to your individual unit. You can insert like a picture right here of, your unit, and, put all your specific information. But I'm going to kind of just go over how to establish your stats. So first things first is, we in the last video, we went over pivot tables and how to establish your mission. So just like with, and if you didn't watch the video on pivot tables and you have no idea what pivot tables are, it's probably best that you go back and, try to establish, what a pivot table is. So those of you guys who don't really have a good grasp as far as like converting a text file to Excel from your PurdyB, go to my previous video that goes over that, because I'm not going to really go too much in depth in it in this video. I'm going to kind of go over it, and if you don't really know how to make a pivot table, I'm going to zip through this real quick. So here I have a mock re-ups, a fake re-ups one, and when you pull it, you basically pull the date range that you want to for your, as far as how you're going to do your re-ups, your stats. So here, I want to set these to from oldest to newest. So all the guys that were considered FY, my aggregate mission, my FY16, are all going to be prior to October, which it's, let's see, so these guys' ETS date is coming up. So let's see, all the way up until September 30th are all my aggregate guys. So what I'm going to do with these guys is, for one, I want to get all those guys. Make sure I'm not copying the top cell. No. So I'm going to copy. Actually, no. I'm going to cut that. I'm going to put it in a new worksheet. I'm going to paste it. And what I want to do is I want to get, let me delete all this. You want to delete all that information so everything rolls up. You want to copy this the top headers. Copy. Then you're going to paste. Okay? So now, so these should all be your aggregate FY, your aggregate mission, because lately, for those of you guys who have been doing this for a while, we've had a quarter mission and aggregate mission. So, sorry, I had to pause the movie, or pause the video for a second there. So now what we want to do is we want to filter out the guys that got re-enlisted that were outside of their window, because we're not going to get credit for those guys, at least not for this mission. So we're going to go all the way down to what was it? The last date, which was September 30th, 2017. And then we're going to delete the rest of those guys because we don't get mission. We don't get credit for those guys. Delete those guys. All right. And then what I'm going to come over here is I'm going to come and make another bunch of fake, change all my UICs to actual companies, since you can have more than one company within a UIC. So I'm going to do this real quick, so bear with me. But again, for those of you guys who saw the last video, this saves time when it comes to like figuring out how many eligibles you have when you have more than one UIC within a company. You have those derivative UICs that are in the company that kind of throw your stuff off. All right. So right now we've just been working with Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, and HHC. Again, it's just going to be based off the type of unit you have. Right there, paste. Oh, maybe I went too far. All right, then let's come over here. Change that to Delta. This stat sheet's going to look real weird. And then let me do the rest. JHC. Paste. All right, so now I have two different sheets. This one is my quarter mission. Right now we're doing Q2 of FY17, and this one's our aggregate 2016. Now, this is all going to be based off of how you pull your re-ups in retain, but so you want to make sure you capture everybody. But what right now we're only going to focus on the quarter mission. So just like we did in the previous video, we're going to select all. We're going to insert pivot table. We're going to do it on a new sheet. We're going to get our UIC, or company as we named them over here. So it comes up. We're going to get our term, and that's going to go in our columns, and then we're going to get the mock social that we used and move that to values. And this is pretty much what it's saying, how many we've reenlisted in each. All right, so again, this whole thing is going to be real awkward because I'm kind of just doing it real ghetto style over here. But so this is what your quarter mission should look like. So I'm going to put this here so that way there's no confusion. All right, so that's my Q2. Okay, so on this other mock stat sheet that I made what we call like a little mission tool. Now in the previous video, I kind of showed how to get your per dB when we first do our eligible pool at the beginning of the quarter to find out how many eligibles we have. Obviously, everybody on that list we're not going to re-enlist, otherwise we're re-enlisting 100%. So this was kind of just like a little tool to help you out. It's in the quick report database, but again, I wanted to show you guys how you can use Excel. You could do this many different ways, but let's say I know that there are 300 soldiers eligible within a particular unit. Okay, now what I want to do is I want this to be a percentage, so I'm going to change this to percentage. Okay, and let's say my mission for initials is 35.21. Okay, now what I want to do is, again, I'm going to turn this into, I want to keep this into a number. What I want to do is I want 35.21% of this. So how do we do that? Well, there are a couple ways we can do it. You can go into a calculator and you can do it. You can come over here and do 300 times, and again, when you're doing percentages, you move the decimal place, so 0.3521 equaling 105.63 or 106. Or you can let Excel do it for you, where you get now I want this cell to equal this times this percentage. So I'm going to actually type that. So in that cell, that cell highlighted, you're going to type in equal to this, and then the asterisk sign, which is your multiplication, this. And then you're just going to enter, and it's going to give you the exact same number. Okay, you can make a couple of these. Now, as long as you don't type anything in here, this should automatically update every time. So let's say you're working all your initials, and you already know your percentage for initials is 35.21%. You could change this to 450. As soon as you move out of that cell, it's automatically going to update. And this just is another thing to help you. So now, again, this was just a quick way of doing a little tool. I'm not going to actually use this for the stats. This is just a way you can use Excel to help you out. Now, let's say you've already established what your mission is for your initials, mids, careerists, for your FY, for your RC. Okay, right now we're only going to focus probably on the quarter, maybe the FY, and we might go over the whole thing. But I also want to go over a glide path, and I'll explain what all this information is later on. So I'm going to make up just some random numbers. Okay, so we're going to say 350. We're going to say, or 450, 350. We'll say 300. For some reason, these are going lower, so 325. And then we'll say 225. All right. So now, whenever you're trying to figure out your stats, you've already established your mission. Your mission gets established at the beginning of the quarter. So these should already be set. These won't change unless you know, something happens and you're transferring mission from one unit to another. But the only thing that should be changing is your accomplished, and then obviously the percentages. So when you go up to your re-ups, you know, you'll take those numbers that you made with the pivot table of all your re-ups, and you're gonna, you know, so this is telling me in Alpha Company I've re-enlisted 128 initials. So then you'll come in here, you'll put, you know, 128, 28, right? So how are we gonna make this easy? Well, let's see. I'm just gonna put in, I'm not gonna look at the re-ups. I'm just gonna make up some numbers. So again, 224. We'll make this one 295, 300, and 201. All right. So I have a total and I have a percentage. So how do I get this to auto-populate? Well, the same thing I kind of did here. This obviously we want these cells right here to be a percentage. So I'm going to highlight all of these cells right here. In fact, you can hit Control and highlight all the ones that go into percentage. And this is so that way you can just kill 2 stones with 1 bird. And for those of you guys who are confused, I said that right, 2 stones with 1 bird. So all these are percentages now, all these cells. So they will auto, you know, format to a percentage. I think you can even go into it even further, but let's see. So I have it as percentage, and let's say I only want to make it 1 decimal place, or maybe no decimal places. I just want it to be a straight percentage. So let's do that with all of them. So again, you can make these cells, if you guys haven't worked with Excel, it is a great tool. You just got to know how to use it. So percentage, okay, 0 decimal place. You can make it 1 decimal place, 2 decimal place, up to you. So now I want this to equal the percentage of 128 out of 450. So again, just like you did, you're going to type in what you want that cell to do. I want this cell here to equal this, this cell, just highlight it, and then you use the /, which covers your division, this. Hit enter. It's 28%. Okay? You can copy that, paste, 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 paste. And there you go. There's all your percentages. Now, I want a total here. So, again, there are a couple ways I can do this. Now, I have little spaces in between, so I'm going to do this a little bit differently. But if you have no spaces between your companies, you can actually do the sum of all these. But I want this to be the total of this amount. So total is just addition. So I'm going to hit equal to this plus that plus that plus that plus that, and then hit enter. And that's going to give me my total. Okay, and then I could probably copy this and paste that there. And there we go. And now I'm going to copy the formula that's in here and I'm going to paste it in there. And now I know that my total mission is 70%. Okay, so this is how you would fill out, and again, the same way you would fill this section out, that's how you're going to fill out these ones, this one, this one. You pretty much type in what you want these cells to do. Okay, so there are a lot of different ways that you can do a stat sheet. So a lot of them, you know, you'll see that they have the date as of. So, and some people will manually type it in. There is an easy way to do this. I want this cell to equal the date. Open and close parentheses. Oh, did something wrong. Maybe I did this wrong. Maybe it's now. And there's the date. And let me do a short date. There we go. Close that a little bit, and so now I know now I have a date on there, so I can, you know, reference when I actually pulled my last stats if you export this to PDF. So now we're going to go over glide path. Now I'm going to type in glide path here, or let me be more specific. Your quarter glide path. Okay, and I'm going to make this cell equal it. All right, so let me, just to differentiate that one, I'm just going to highlight that cell right there. And this one. Okay, so what's the mission start date? So we already know the mission start date was 1, at least for the current quarter that we're in, 1/1/2016. Now, for your mission end date, you can pretty much do this however you want. If you want to be a stud and say, I'm going to be done by mid-February, you can do it that way. It's really up to you. Let me delete this. So let's say I'm going to just stick with the last day of the month, for the last day of the quarter, 3/31/2016. All right. Now, in order to establish your glide path, first you have to establish how many days are in your glide path. Okay, so that's the difference between these 2 days. So there's another formula for that called date diff and it is between this one. Oh wait, I think I want days. You use the D for days, and then you're going to put a comma. You're going to put that cell, highlight that cell, you're going to put another comma, that cell, and then you're going to close your parentheses. You can hit enter. And there is an error. And hold on, let me pause it. All right, so I kind of figured out what the issue was. So the formula was different for between, because I use Access a lot too. Even though they're both Microsoft, they use different formulas and how they're utilized. So here, what you're going to do is, it's actually pretty easy. In this cell where you want the days, you're going to actually put in this cell equal to the days, open parentheses, and you're going to start with the end date. And it kind of helps you out there, end date and start date. First you're going to put the end date, and then you're going to put a comma, start date. And then close the parentheses, you hit enter, and it's 90. Okay? So now, this doesn't really tell me what my glide path is yet. So now I need to know how many days as of today. So I'm going to use days as of today. Okay, and I'm going to do that by going again with days, open parentheses, and the end date is obviously going to be today. And again, this is going to auto update. So every time you open this Excel, if you open it up tomorrow, it's going to automatically say 3/29/2016. So the glide's always going to change. And then the start date was the start of the mission. You're going to hit enter, and it's 87. Okay, so now I have my 2 dates. Now I want this to be a percentage. So I'm going to go over here. I don't like any decimal places, so I highlight percentage, hit 0 decimal places, hit OK. And again, I know what I want the cell to do. I'm going to hit equal to the number of days that we're at so far, divided by how many days until mission completion. And we should be, based on the glide path, 97%. Okay, that's where we should be as of today. Now again, if I open it up tomorrow, this percentage might change. If I opened this up 2 weeks ago, it's going to be different. This is going to auto update based off of whatever your end date. So if I change this to, let's say I thought I was a stud originally and I said 2/15/2016. Oh, well, now I'm at 193%, and I can already tell that I'm behind glide path because none of those are that high. So again, I'm going to fix that because we shouldn't be there yet. All right, 97%. And we can go into conditional formatting, so that way this will automatically do certain things. So you pretty much the same way I did this, you can do this with your mids, you can do it with your careers, you can do it with your FY, you can do it with your RC. And again, if you guys need help or you guys have questions, you guys need a template of this, let me know. But now, sometimes you guys will see that these are highlighted and you know, there's certain colors based off the glide path automatically. So to do that, what you're going to do is you're going to select the fields that you want to do a conditional formatting, right? All right, and you're going to go to conditional formatting, and what you're going to do is highlighted cells, you want them to be, let's see, more rules. Okay, only cells with cell value that's equal to, where is it? Greater than or equal to, that's what you want, 2, and you're going to select this cell. Then you can hit enter, and the format, you're going to set the format, and you want this to be bold, and you want the color to be green. Okay, so the only one that's, now if you noticed when I did that, the only one that highlighted green was the 98% because it's above, equal to or above this percentage. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight these again, and we're going to do another conditional formatting. We're going to go to, where is it? Highlighted cells, we're going to go to more rules, or no, we'll do less than this one, and we're going to put red text. Okay, so now all the ones that are less than 97% are automatically red. Okay, and so if you automatically, like let's say we ended up doing 449 reenlistments in Alpha Company. That rounded up. I mean, we could change that to 1 decimal place and it'll probably round back down. But it automatically turned green. This percentage automatically went up because of what changed in these 2 cells. Because remember, these are going to total whatever is going on in here. So as you increase these, so 225, this will automatically update, and the percentage will automatically update. So again, this does take time to establish your stats. But once you actually build an actual stat sheet like this, all that's really changing is maybe your mission start date and end date. But everything else can pretty much stay the same as long as you don't mess with the cells that have formulas in these. So these ones have formulas, these ones have formulas, but these ones are the ones that you can change the most. The mission tool, I wouldn't put this in your actual stat sheet. You know, you can put that in your own Excel. You know, you can put it in a different workbook. It's kind of just like a little tool to help you figure out how much you should be missioned for. But it's important to understand, you know, how these percentages, you know, how to build a stat sheet. And the beauty of this is if you try to email this out to your commands, if they don't open it for a couple of days, this stuff's not going to be accurate because your glide path is going to increase automatically, because anytime you close this and open it up at a later day, this date is going to always change, which is going to affect your days as of today, and it's going to affect your glide path, and it's going to affect your percentages. So another cool feature of Microsoft is, or at least of Excel, is you can export this as a PDF, right? So I'm going to put this to my desktop. I'm going to put mock stats. I'm going to publish it, right? As soon as I publish it, well, let me zoom out of that. I mean, obviously I can work on some formatting and maybe the layout, but now it's always going to have that information. You know, it's not going to change automatically. So let me see if I can fix this. So let me see. View. Yeah, either way. But this is just kind of a quick way to establish your stats. Now I'm going to see if there's any way we can change the view of this so that way we can set your print area. you can see, there's a lot of different features of Excel, and this is only a small portion. Okay, orientation, landscape. All right, so obviously it's still out of the landscape area. Maybe if I delete this, I can make this smaller, that smaller. I mean, all these can pretty much be smaller. I kind of just gave them like a lot of space. I can't give these guys a lot of room for numbers. So in fact, I could probably delete that cell right there. There we go. So now everything fits in there. And what happened here? Oh, there we go. Open that up a little bit. So let's see. So now let's try that again. We're going to export desktop mock stats. Yes, I want to replace it. And there we go. Now again, not all this stuff is filled out. I could have formatted these a little bit better. This stuff you can actually hide. Like if you move this to a different area, and again, you got to be careful. If you move this information, you're going to have to redo your formulas because these formulas are based off of this particular cell. So this cell is Lima 27. So if you change it, you know, it's always going to be different. Or what you can do, so that way you can get rid of it, is, let's see, we can delete this. All right, and I put no, I jacked that up. What? All right, I think I have to use now. Yeah. There we go. All right, so now I put that, instead of using the as of date, which I'm going to put up here now, equal to now, enter, open this up a little bit, but let me change it to a short date. Short date, and make it small again. So now, let me close that up a little bit too. So now that all this stuff is kind of filled in, what I can do is, I don't want, when I'm printing out these stats, maybe I don't want everybody to see this. So I'm going to grab this, I'm going to cover it. Now no one can see it. Everything is still working, everything's still good to go. When I export it as a PDF, why doesn't this automatically do desktop? I can't spell apparently. Yes. Okay. And there we go. So now you have an as of date, you have your glide path. Now this was just your quarter glide path, so you'd have to establish one for your FY and your RC. But I mean, you pretty much already know how to do it after this video, hopefully. But this is pretty much how you would do a stat sheet, and this is pretty much how you would export it out. If you guys have any questions, if you guys would like kind of a copy of one that has maybe this particular Excel spreadsheet that I've been working with, you know, just go ahead and email me. It's my email will be in the description, and I hope this helps.